Hi guys, today the structure that we're going to be checking is obviously used to describe actions that started and finished in the past. Super important, started and finished in the past, okay? For example, yesterday I visited my grandparents. It's something that started and finished yesterday. Also, we're going to use this structure to talk about a series of events in the past. For example, she woke up, had breakfast, and then went to school, okay? So it's very important for you to know that these are these two basic uses to describe something that happened, that started and finished in the past, and also to talk about series of events that happened one after another one in the past. Also, it's very common to use the past simple structure or the past simple tense to talk about past habits or past routines. For example, when I was 9 years old, I played football. You may be asking what happens with the verb to be. As you know, the verb to be in present simple tense is going to have three different conjugations: am, is, are. But in past tense, we're going to have only two: was and were. We're going to use was for the pronouns I, he, she, it. But remember that you can also use the noun. For example, Paco, Lupita, my dog, the park, okay? And we're going to use were for the rest of the pronouns: you, we, they, and the nouns that they are substituting. For example, I was with my grandmother yesterday and they were at the park. Simple, right? Now, what happens with the negative sentences? Super simple. We're going to have was or were plus not. And remember, we have the conjugations wasn't and weren't. For example, I wasn't tired after the exercise. Now, for interrogative sentences or questions, remember that we need to change a little bit the order of the sentence. We're going to have first my verb to be and then my subject. For example, were you at home? Simple, right? There's not like a big problem on this. Now, taking apart the verb to be, it is important for you to know that for past tense, we're going to divide the verbs in three: the regular verbs, the irregular verbs, and the semi-irregular verbs. Right now, we're going to focus on the regular ones. These are the verbs that we are most of the times just going to add ed after the verb. Ed. For example, work, worked, jump, jumped. Okay? There's no problem. Also, if my verb ends in the vowel E, we just add the after that. For example, dance, danced, live, lived, move, moved. No problems. But there are other verbs that don't follow these rules. For example, if my verb ends in a consonant Y, I need to change the Y for an I and then add ed. For example, study, studied, cry, cried. Simple. But there's an exception. If there is a vowel before the Y, I need to leave the Y and add ed. For example, play, played, enjoy, enjoyed. I don't change the Y for the I in these cases, okay? Also, another important rule is that if my verb is one syllable that has consonant, vowel, consonant, CVC, I need to double the last consonant and then add ed. For example, stop, stopped, double P, okay? But you don't double it if my last consonant is W, X, or Y. For example, fix, fixed, just one X, snow, snowed, one W, okay? And that's simple. For the rest of the verbs, we need to duplicate the last consonant, okay? For example, prefer, preferred, double R. Admit, admitted, double T. And now what happens with the semi-irregular and the irregular verbs. I like to divide this in two different categories in order for you to make it easier to memorize. Because differently from the regular ones that we just add ed or the, these types of verb, you need to memorize them. There's not like a rule to follow. So we're going to have the complete irregular ones that are the ones that change completely. For example, go, went, different word, eat, ate, swim, swam, run, ran, and some others, bring, brought, think, thought, etc. Okay? And the semi-irregular ones are the ones that don't change from present to past. In some cases, it only changes the pronunciation. For example, read, read. But the rest, for example, cut in present, cut in past, cost in present, cost in past, put in present, put in past, they are going to remain the same from present to past. That's why I call them semi-irregular. I have already told you what happens with the negative and interrogative sentences with the verb to be. Was not, were not. Wasn't, weren't. But what happens with negative and interrogative sentences with the verbs that are not verb to be? Is super, super simple. In this tense, in the past simple tense, we're going to have one auxiliary that is going to help us. That is did, D-I-D, the past of do. So remember, this is for the verbs that are not verb to be. And it's super simple. For negative sentences, I'm going to use did and not, or the contraction didn't, okay? For example, you didn't follow the rules. She didn't like the movie. As you can see, it doesn't matter the subject. It can be any pronoun, any type of subject, any type of noun, and it's going to be the same, singular or plural. For example, all my friends didn't go to the same school. Or Panchita didn't like the movie. It doesn't matter, okay? And for questions, we need to place the did auxiliary or the auxiliary did before the noun. For example, what did you do yesterday? Okay? And I like this example because it is very helpful to understand that it doesn't matter that I have my verb do for negative and interrogative sentences. I'm going to use the auxiliary did. Did you do your homework?